Hi everyone. I thought it prudent to do an update on the blood moons and solar eclipses and the pattern that has been given to us in the sky. And because we're coming now to the middle point. So what I will do is I'll just go over briefly for those that haven't watched my other videos on it, so that you can see what I'm talking about. It began in 2022, where we had solar eclipses and then blood moons. And there's a pattern that goes from 2022 to 2025. It began on the 30th of April, 2022. And it ends on the 7th of September, 2025. There's 2 years and then another 2 years. They're two patterns and there's a middle point. So in 2022, on the 30th of April, we had a solar eclipse and then a blood moon on the 16th of May. They were on the second Passover. So it says in the scriptures in Leviticus and Deuteronomy that if you are not in the land to be able to observe the first Passover, or you are unclean, or for whatever reason you cannot participate in it, then you are to observe it the following month, the second Passover. So we're not in the land, we are afar off, we're scattered all throughout the world. So the second Passover is very important for us to acknowledge and to observe. So there is a solar eclipse and then a blood moon on the 16th of May, and it happens the following year as well on the second Passover. It happens a solar eclipse on the 30th of April, and on the 5th of May, a blood moon. And then it changes. For the next 2 years, starting this coming year, 2024, on the 25th of March, we have a blood moon followed by a solar eclipse on the 8th of April. Same again on the 2025. We have on the 14th of March, a blood moon followed by a solar eclipse on the 29th of March. Now, we get the solar eclipse on the new year, the 1st of Nisan on the Hebrew calendar. And we get the blood moon on the 14th of Adar, which is Purim. And that follows for 2025. We get the blood moon on the 14th of Adar, which is Purim, and the solar eclipse on the 1st of Nisan, which is the 29th of March. So with this pattern, he's calling the young generation to look and to watch and to see. And then on the second lot of the last 2 years, it's on Purim, which is the story of Esther. It's where Haman wanted the Israelites, those from Judea, he didn't want them in the land, so he wanted them all murdered, and the king agreed. So he set out to build the gallows. He was okayed by the king to do it. And of course, the king's wife was Esther, who was from Judea. And but the king didn't really know that, so she had to petition him after much fasting and prayer. Please do not, because if you do, it will include me. And he loved her. So the story is, and you can read it in the book of Esther, that once the king found out, what have you done, forcing me to make this decree, anyone that's involved with you, Hanan, is going to go on the gallows, because he realized it was a trick. And anyway, the gallows that Haman built for the destruction of the righteous ended up being his destruction. So it is significant that there is a blood moon at that time. he is saying that I am in control. I shall destroy those that have enslaved and that are of the wicked. So, there's going to be full disclosure. There's going to be a lot happening in the next 2 years, I believe. Now, the other pattern is in the our springtime in America and the rest of the world. It's the autumn time, and that is over October, September, October, November. So for 2022 and 2023, on the 25th of October, we had a solar eclipse, and on the 8th of November, we had a blood moon. So this was a month out from the Hebrew or the Lord's feasts, but something significant happened. In 2022, we had the world leaders that met at the Ziggurat in Iraq. And that was a ziggurat that Nimrod built, where Abraham and Terah, those stories, if you go back into early Genesis, Genesis after Noah, I think it's 8, 9, 10, 11, you want to read up about that. And Nimrod built the ziggurat to the gods, and to himself. And they met there. And then on the 8th of November, they met at Mount Sinai to do their own 10 commandments. And they reenacted it. And in fact, they even broke the first lot of tablets on the ground and then went and recarved the next lot to mimic what happened with Moshe when he came down off Mount Sinai and saw that they had built a golden calf. He was absolutely furious and smashed the 10 commandments. Of course, then he had to go up for another 40 days, and the next lot of commandments were written by the finger of God, of Yah. So for them to do that and to reenact it, it's shocking. It is so bad. So that's what happened. This year, 2023, we had also on the blood moon, we had the King Charles III crowned, which is significant as well as a second Passover. But on the 28th of October, on the blood moon, was when the war in Iraq with Gaza began. And that's significant because, again, you see, the people that are in Israel are not who we think they are. A lot of the Christian churches think that they are the right ones that are meant to be there. They actually are the cabal. It's a cabal headquarters. And if you study the Balfour Declaration, you'll see the Rothschilds and the Queen with the hand all over it and money, and it's been their headquarters for them to facilitate over the face of the world a lot of their evil and what they do. So it is not the chosen people, God's race back in there. Sure, some of them there, but it's not the fulfillment of those scriptures that they think it is. That is yet to happen. And what they have done in Gaza is just revolting, absolutely revolting. So that happened on that date. Very significant. That's when it started. So, but in the future, on those 2 dates, next year coming up, 2024, on the 18th of September, and then the 2nd of October, we have the Feast of Trumpets and Tabernacles. So, and that repeats for the next year, 2025 as well. We've got on the 7th of September and the 21st of September, we've got Trumpets and Tabernacles. Now, the significance of trumpets, it's a feast date in Yah's calendar, and Yahusha, commonly known as Jesus, Yahusha is his Hebrew name, Yah, Husha, which is Yah's salvation. He was born on the 3rd BC on our Gregorian calendar on the 11th of September, 9/11. But he was born then on that date. And at that time, we had the woman in the star, the Revelation 12 sign, which we had also in 2017, and we had it also this year, 2023. And in fact, the 12th of December this year, the new moon sign in the heavens journey, opening up the gate in heaven and uplifting, Jupiter came out. So it's like the birth is coming. It's here. It's begun. Just very significant things are happening, and you can find more information on these things online. And if you want to know more, just message me and I can send you a link to, you know, other people that have really gone in and studied these things. So we have 4 years, okay? In those 4 years, we've got 2 years and then 2 years. We've got the spring and the autumn, the 2 different sections. So the first 2 years, we've got the solar eclipse blood moons 4 times. And then the next 2 years, 24 and 25, we've got blood moon first, and then solar eclipse, where we had solar eclipse and then blood moon. So there's a mirror. In the middle 2 years, 23 and 24, those 2 blood moons are not a normal red blood moon. They are called a dark blood moon. So normally when you have a blood moon, it's like a finger goes across the moon and it turns it from the brightness full moon into darkness. And then as the finger passes, it turns red. And then it sort of has a shadow and it turns white again. With these 2 middle years, 4 times, twice a year, it's just a dark moon. It just goes dark, like it says the moon will not shine its light. And it stays dark. And then it will reverse back again, because the full moon is full for 3 nights. So it's the middle night on those dates that I gave to you. So heading forward, we've got the blood moons on the 25th of March, 18th of September, and then 2025, we've got them on the 14th of March and the 7th of September, Purim and Tabernacles. And coming up, the first ones are on the Lord's feast date of the new year, the old new year. And then we've got the new year. See, the new year in the Hebrew calendar was always the same date as the Feast of Trumpets. But when they went into Egypt and they were in captivity, when they came out, Yah said to them, well, now let this be for you the beginning of months. And so that was the 1st of Nisan. So the new year began on that time. It's interesting that the 2 solar eclipses are happening on the 1st of Nisan New Year, as well as the old New Year, which was trumpets. Personally, I believe when he returns, it's going to go back to that being the new year again, but we're not there yet. But maybe this is part of that. I don't know. So in the middle, we have this space from 2022, 2023 pattern, and then 2024, 2025. There's a space in the middle. And I started thinking on that lately, and I thought, I wonder what date is the middle pivotal point. So I did some homework. And what I did is I took the blood moons from the last blood moon, which was on the 28th of October, And the next blood moon, which is the 25th of March, 2023, there's 149 days. Divide it by 2, comes to 74.5, call it 75. And then I did the same with the solar eclipses. I counted from the 29th of October through to the 8th of April, 177 days, divided by 2, and it came to 88.5. So I worked out what's the middle point. So for the blood moons, from the 29th of October, I counted up all the days in each month. As I said, it came to 149 days, divided by 2, came to 75 days. Okay, so what day and date is that? And it came up to the 11th of January, 2024. Okay, I'll peg that and I'll do the next lot. So I did from the 14th of October to the 8th of April, 177 days, divided by 2 is 88.5. Oh my goodness. It's 11th of January is the middle point. Exactly the same. Which is, I knew it'd be close, but I was really amazed at that. So that's the pivotal point. So that's where it changes. Something at that time or around that time is due, which is going to make a big change, I believe. What is that? So there are a few things I am aware of, and there's probably a lot more. On the 1st of January, the BRICS nations, which is Britain, Russia, India, China, and what's this one? South Africa. All major countries are no longer going to be using the United States dollar. The BRICS nations is a group of nations where they are trading together in their own currencies. It is to get away from the fiat system and the control of the fiat Rothschild system. On the 1st of January, we also have maybe Argentina. They may not, actually. I've been reading up about that, but at the moment they're pegged to join. Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates are going to be joining them on the 1st. And of course, they will be trading also in their own currency. This is the date they're ditching the American dollar for these countries. It's massive. When you think about it, Saudi Arabia alone has 7th largest oil producer in the world. And I know that they are also increasing their oil supply. So the Iraq is to end all US dollar, and they're going to be trading in the dinar. They may be already trading in it now, but they will be absolutely internationally and in their country only using the dinar. They are ditching the United States dollar. That's going to devalue the West. So Putin on the 15th of December visited the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. And that's when they really cemented the fact that they will not be taking the US dollar for oil. He went with very high military escort. And on, this is what I was going to read, on the 10th of January, this is something historical, but it's significant. On the 10th of January, 49 BC, General Julius Caesar crossed the Rubicon. Now, he crossed the Rubicon, a stream separating Rome from the province of Gaul. Crossing the Rubicon began a civil war that would end the Roman Republic at that time. So it's just interesting on that date, going back over 2,000 years, the Roman Empire kind of fell. It's actually been very much here with us all the way through, as we know. But, you know, these things are to be and are to occur. So we don't know it all, but I tell you, the things that we see in the sky are God telling us. And when you go back to 2022, when it all began, right, this whole pattern, what happened in the April? What happened over the Passover time? Remember March, April 2022? There was a lot that happened with, you know, in the health sector, and 2021 as well over those dates. You know, I've been studying this since 2010, and there was a pattern there that the Father showed me. And it was from 10 to 17 is 7 years. These are the years of plenty. Get your house in order, because and save, because from 17 to 24 coming into tricky times. It's like Joseph, how he put, for 7 years, he put his grain away, and then for the next 7 years, he needed it because there was a famine. And there were solar eclipses in 2010 and 2015 to 2017. 2017, we had the woman in the sky sign in Revelation 12. So that ends those 7 years, and the next 7 years ends at 2024. And if you divide that into half, you've got 2017 to 2021, and then 2024, or 2020 to 2021, halfway through there. And I remember saying to people for a long time over the feast, you've got to look out for that middle point. For Passover, something significant is going to happen. It's not going to be good. And that's when the jab got rolled out all through the Western countries. It began over the Hanukkah, the December prior. And it was interesting because when the Lord showed me these things, which was probably about 3 years ago now, I said to him, but isn't it all meant to finish, or this pattern of 7 and 7 finish at 2024? Why is it going on to 2025? Or what's the significance? Is that another pattern? Is that another like time frame of events? And I went to bed that night and I dreamt of these two circles that crossed over like that. And he was saying, you're in that transition middle point. This is what this is all about. You've gone from that period of time, and now the new time is coming, and we're in that middle point there. And then I'll put my computer on, and I saw the jolly picture, and I went for a walk with a friend of mine, and we went into the bush to a dam, and I was just telling her about it, how it crosses over. And would you believe it? Drop from the tree above, droplets, and two together, and it created the circle, and we couldn't believe it. And then it was all over the dam, this pond, these circles interlocking. So I do believe that, and I guess we can all feel it, that we are in a transition, and we are coming into the time of, I believe, of the cabal finally being dealt with. I recently did, I posted something on a channel I've got, Awake New Zealand, on, and I'll mention it. I haven't got the numbers or the books in front of me, but you see, right back at the beginning of time with Adam and Eve, they had two sons, Cain and Abel. Okay. This is controversial. Cain was the son of Hasatan, because what happened is, you know how we all ate from the family, we all have a family tree, and Adam and Eve ate from the family tree. It's lineage. Okay, so what happened is she was intimate with Hasatan, and then also with Adam. So she had two children, one righteous, one unrighteous, the seed of Satan. But she also had a righteous one. So they were actually doing a Passover and preparing for it when Cain murdered Abel, because Cain brought a lesser gift and Abel brought the right gift. So he got the blessing, and Cain was furious, and he ended up murdering Abel, became a cannibal. Okay. And Abel's blood was spilt on the land. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to go into it too deeply. Yahusha came to him and said, "What have you done with your brother? I hear him crying out from the land, his blood crying out from the land." And anyway, he cursed Cain, and made him a vagabond, which meant he had nowhere to dwell. And Cain said, "That is too much for me. They'll murder me." And Yahusha said, "No, I'll put a seal on you, the Aleph Tav, on you, for 7 generations, which means no one can touch you." So, and then Adam and Eve had more children. They had Seth, and it carried on. And if you want to look at this, look at Adam's lineage. It goes straight to Seth. It does not mention Cain. Would it not mention Cain if it was his son? The firstborn? It hasn't, because he isn't. And Yahusha knew this. That's what he says. Your father is the devil. You do what your father does. Okay. So then we fast forward, right, to Tubal Cain and his father, Lamed. And a situation happened there where Cain died, and he saw that blessing and protection on that bloodline has been lifted, and he prayed, "Father, please, can we have this lineage continue on?" And he was promised it would do for 7 times 70 generations, which is basically 100 years. So, and that was 1,000 years after Adam and Eve. So anyway, that's 490. 7 sevens are 49, so 490, and add another 0. So that's, say, 5,000 years, 1,000 years. So we're up at the 6,000 years where we are now in our time frame. And how it was preserved was through Naam, which is Tubal Cain's sister, was Noah's second wife, who they had Ham, and on it goes down through Nimrod and continuing on through today. They're all around today. But that curse, or that protection, I beg your pardon, that has been over them is being lifted. This is what I see and have sensed this probably, I don't know, for quite some time. Because you see, God keeps his word, and he promised that to them. But same with Cain, right from the time that it was lifted, bang. And it's going to be the same, I believe, now. And when Yahusha comes back, remember, you know, that seed is going to be done away with. So I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. It's just thoughts that I have, trying to marry it all up. I do my study, and I go back into Hebrew, and I ponder and I reflect, and I go through different sources, often to disprove things. And yeah, this is something that I have held in my heart for quite some time. Maybe this is the time that it ends it. I don't know. We don't know. But I do know, moving away from the fiat, the Rothschild system, is one way that they will be losing their power. So we have to trust in him and watch, as we're told to do. So I think this is all that I have to say. Yeah, the 11th of January, 10th of January, 49 BC, when Julius Caesar severed ties somehow. But we know that that actually continued on, that the Rome was very much involved in Jerusalem and all throughout the world, and it's just got stronger as time's gone on. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this or get something from it anyway. Pencil those dates into your diary and watch and see. Okay, this would be his name.